our next guest has made it her life's mission to help others. A certified oncology nurse, grief mediator and life coach, and a psychic medium. Gail Trauco joins us to show us how learning about grief can actually help through any difficult change in your life. So fortunate to have you here today, Gail. Thank you so much for being here. You brought a companion.
I do. This is Maybe. She is a trained therapy dog.
And what kind of dog is Maybe?
She is a black lab. She's a senior 9-year-old and was rescued and trained, and she helps people cope with their fear who are going to adopt wild Mustangs. So she is a resident.
Now, when we think of grief, we often think loss and death, but grief can come in a lot of forms.
Grief comes anytime you experience a loss in your life, move, job, ending a relationship. And it not only impacts adults, but it impacts children as well.
And it's a true medical condition that can really, if left untreated or coped with, it can really go south.
If you have grief and it remains untreated throughout the grief cycle, it will evolve into full-blown clinical depression. When you develop clinical depression, you become dysfunctional in your day-to-day life activities.
Now, we all kind of know the 5 stages of grief, you know, anger, depression, denial. You pioneered the 7 stages of grief. What else?
The 2 stages that I have pioneered in my clinical practice, fear is always first, and out of all the 5,000 patients that I've worked with, everybody comes in with fear. There is a loss. So you are in that state of fear with where you are. And at the end, when I'm working with clients, we get them to the forgetfulness phase, where the memory of the grief and life trauma is still there. However, you are in that happy place. So it's moved the healing cycle of grief a little bit beyond.
Now, you've pioneered a successful program treating grief without medication called front porch therapy. Explain about that.
Front porch therapy is based on the way that I grew up in rural North Carolina. The front porch was the center of the family. And if you look at most of the homes across the U.S., many of them, until within the last 10 years, had a front porch. It was that sense of community, family, communication, openness. So that's where I try to
talk out on the stoop or something like that, right on the front steps.
You do, and you care about people. It was a day and time when you knew your neighbors. You knew your neighbors' names. You knew where they worked. You knew their dogs' names. And we've lost that in communities.
You also talk about different ways that you can help lift one's mood, and you have them all here. Talk to us about some instant gratification.
Instant gratification. If you are grieving or very mild clinical depression, you will immediately be able to lift your mood. Liberace's Mood Lifter is the first everyday household item everybody has at home. Liberace always had candles and candelabras on his piano.
Yes.
I love Liberace. He's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And there is Maybe. So I say light up some candles, light up your mood. Martha Stewart's Mood Lifters. Martha Stewart's always surrounded by flowers. She was even surrounded by flowers when she was in prison. So I went down to the local market, bought these beautiful flowers. It brightens your mood.
Absolutely. And the one for me, music definitely does it for me.
Lady Gaga's technique. Yeah. Turn on that music, turn it up, avoid punk rock, heavy metal, use light, soft rock. It lightens your mood. And Dr. Doodle's anti-depression weapon, my visitor Maybe has gone to visit her trainer. So spend time with your pet, cat, dog, the pet of your choice. When you pet that animal, it lowers your vital signs to a resting state. It immediately lifts your mood.
Now, you are also a psychic medium. You've trained with some of the greats.
John Holland, Lisa Williams, Tony Stockwell from Britain. It is very much a gift to be a medium and connect with the other side and be able to deliver those messages to people. And in the beginning, when I began working with grief, I was literally just using the connection as a medium to deliver messages from the other side to those family members. Teresa Caputo has a wonderful TV show, and the amazing healing that you see going on with people when they receive that message from the other side.
What I love about this front porch therapy, obviously, I love where it originated from, you know, back home in North Carolina, but also that you infuse all of these different therapies because it's without medication, but angel therapy, hypnotherapy. Tell me more.
There is no one clinical treatment for a person who is grieving that's going to repair it all. Each program that I develop is for a client, individualized for that client based on where they are in a grief cycle and what their ultimate goal is. Everybody's ultimate goal at the end is to be happy. Hypnotherapy is used to retrain behaviors from a life trauma. For example, if somebody lost a parent, they'd been sexually abused, they'd been beaten. They need to go back, relive that experience, release that trauma in order to end that grief cycle. some of the techniques such as meditation. Most of my clients, the first thing I tell them, go out and buy a rocking chair if you don't own one. That 15 minutes in that rocking chair every day lowers your vital signs, puts you in a resting state. A front porch is actually developed to be that safe space for anyone. You can even take it to the work environment, where when someone crosses over into that boundary on your porch, you need to learn to communicate back to them that they have overstepped their boundaries. So there are many parts of grief mediation that touch all parts of a person's life. It may be a repetitive behavior if they're ending a relationship. Maybe they were in a battery relationship. Learning how to select a more appropriate mate. And what do you do with your children, especially as a single parent in a grief cycle? One of the big challenges for me as a single mom was, where did I find role models for my children? So learning how to incorporate all these things into your family, because when you are grieving, everyone else in the household is very much aware of it. You may lash out with anger, harsh words. It'll be behavior. You have to learn to heal wholly and, just be patient with yourself every day. And there's no certain length of time that you'll grieve. It may be a week, it may be 12 months.
Now, people can go ahead and find out more in your book, Conquering Grief from Your Own Front Porch. Beautiful cover photo, by the way.
Thank you.
They can also go online, can't they?
At frontporchtherapy.com.
Fantastic. Gail, I wish we had like the whole hour with you. You are just a wealth of information, and I really want to hear more tips. I want all of your mood lifters. I want to bring them here. Stay with us, can you? Thank you, Gail, so much for your time. We really do appreciate it. All right, coming up.